Hi colleagues. On behalf of the BCRC-Caribbean, I want to say a heartfelt thank you for all of your support in 2023. It was a really difficult year. Fue un año muy difícil, pero estamos aquí. But we are here together. We saw the milestones of the Jeff Islands projects actually kicking off with legislative capacity, end-of-life vehicles, and regional labeling standards, as well as the awesome news that we are now recognized as a Stockholm Convention Regional Center. Again, we would not have been here without your support, and we want to say thank you. But before we move into 2024, here's a look back at 2023.
To kick off the year, the BCRC-Caribbean visited Grenada, where we hosted a workshop to introduce key national stakeholders to the Basel, Rotterdam and Stockholm Conventions, to which Grenada acceded in 2022. The BCRC-Caribbean attended several international meetings, such as the BRS-COPs, where we hosted a side event and an exhibition booth at the PCB's fair. We also attended the pre-COP for the Minamata Convention, as well as the 7th High-Level Forum for Chemicals and Waste, hosted by the CWWA. The BCRC also participated in several webinars, and we would have collaborated with the Secretariat to host a Global Plastics Workshop here in Trinidad and Tobago.
On September the 5th, the BCRC-Caribbean held its 9th annual Steering Committee meeting, chaired by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Planning and Development for Trinidad and Tobago, Ms. Marie Hines.
Starting off with the first output on the islands, we kicked off the legislative and institutional framework activity in April, where we introduced the consulting team led by Ms. Fiona Pompey-Handel to the 12 project countries. Following that, they completed their assessment, which included a visit to 5 of the project countries: Guyana, the Bahamas, Cuba, Dominica, and the Dominican Republic, followed by a validation workshop held in person in Trinidad and Tobago in November.
The activity on the development of 2 regional labeling standards was launched in March of 2023, and subsequent to this, the consulting team conducted national assessments towards the streamlining of 2 standards for development. The assessment was later validated, and the 2 standards submitted to prosecute for national deliberation.
In October, we kicked off our first FAO implemented activity on the Jeff Islands, where the BCRC-Caribbean engaged the Caribbean Agricultural Health and Food Safety Agency to conduct an assessment on the implementation of the FAO and WHO's good labeling practices for pesticides in the Caribbean.
In September, we kicked off the activity on the awareness-raising campaign for unintentional persistent organic pollutants. This activity is currently in the assessment phase.
Under Outlook 3.2 on the environmentally sound management of end-of-life vehicles, the inception workshop was held in May 2023, followed by a study tour in Guadeloupe, where our representatives were able to see the best available techniques and best environmental practices for the management of end-of-life vehicles. After this, the consulting team conducted national assessments in the 11 participating countries.
This year, we kicked off Activity 3.3.1 in the Dominican Republic and the Bahamas. This activity looks to assess the generation of plastic waste within the cruise ship sector of both of these countries, as well as develop strategies in order to improve the management of this waste stream. In the Dominican Republic, we were able to work through the assessment phase. We also saw the development of recommendations, as well as a pilot project to be implemented at the Amber Cove Cruise Center in Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic.
BCRC-Caribbean continued its implementation of the UNEP's Plastic Tide Turners Challenge in the region. National implementing partners have been engaged in 7 of the 9 project countries, and they're using engagement tools such as the Tide Turners mobile app to help get youth involved to turn the tide on plastic.
BCRC-Caribbean hosted the 2nd annual Project Steering Committee meeting for the Jeff Islands Caribbean Child projects at the end of November here in Trinidad and Tobago. We had representatives from the project's funder, the Global Environment Facility, from the implementing agencies, UNEP, IDB, and FAO Online, as well as representatives from the 12 project beneficiary countries. This meeting provided an opportunity to recap the key accomplishments and updates over the last year, as well as present on the upcoming activities, work plan and budget.
We also had the opportunity to launch the Startup Components 1, 2, and 5 under the IDB Child Project 10-58, where under the Islands program we continue to work towards the Caribbean Incubator Facility. In this instance, we also heard from the IDB Lab and IDB Invest on their project status and updates.
For our World Environment Day celebrations in 2023, we held the Inspire Islands photo competition with the theme, "The Tide Has to Turn on Plastic Waste." The winners were featured in the 2024 calendar.
While the JEF 5558 project entered into its terminal phase, the BCRC Caribbean continues some key activities to wrap up in 2023. In January, we managed to host a 5-day training workshop on extraction and analysis of PCBs hosted in Antigua and Barbuda. In February and April, we were able to continue the safeguarding and disposal of consolidated PCB stockpiles in Belize and Antigua and Barbuda. And then looking at the outputs of the 5558 project, we embarked on developing a massive online open course, or MOOC, which we hope to now launch in 2024.
With this project in the Bahamas and Dominica, the BCRC Caribbean collaborated with national focal points in each of the project countries to host national instruction and training workshops of November of this year. Through these workshops, stakeholders were able to learn more about the project, become familiar with the national project team, and to learn more about persistent organic pollutants and their impact.
In 2023, we also continued to work towards the review and update of the National Implementation Plan for Guyana. In addition to validating the POPs inventory reports and information, we continued stakeholder consultations, did validation site visits, and then we culminated in November with a validation workshop for the draft National Implementation Plan for Guyana.
In October, the BCRC Caribbean held the Inception Workshop for the Elimination of Hazardous Chemicals from Supply Chains Integrated Program, Trinidad and Tobago. This program is funded by the JEF and implemented by UNEP, and it's currently in the project preparation grant phase. It's focusing on Trinidad and Tobago's carnival industry and its fashion supply chains by looking at how the toxic chemicals present in these supply chains can impact human health and the environment.
2023, as a part of our collection drive for used mobile phones, we collected over 1,200 in Trinidad and Tobago. We look forward to 2024 as we continue to build capacity locally for the environmentally sound management of used mobile phones and computing equipment in Trinidad and Tobago.
This year, we completed 2 projects. The first one was the Replacing Single-Use Plastic Commodities in the Economy of Suriname. Under that project, we worked with the Suriname Waste Management Foundation and completed a range of activities, one of them being actually producing reusable bags. The second project we completed this year, we worked with TAO and SwimCall here in Trinidad and Tobago to understand how we could reduce the impacts of the Beetham landfill on the Caroni swamp.
Throughout the year, the Center aimed to diversify the knowledge and support the personal development of the team through a variety of activities.
We met at La Vega Estate for a team-building workshop and also took part in a Caribbean folk dance workshop. To further build team spirit and provide a source of recreation, the team carried out a sustainable hike to treat wood and relationships.
Our further professional development involved business etiquette training and GIS training. The staff also engaged in a workshop hosted by the TTPS on where the team was educated on ways to be safe and more vigilant on the roads.
All these activities were aimed at developing trust and fostering good communication with the team, also with a bit of fun and creativity.
Into 2024, we will be continuing execution of the JEF Islands program, including kicking off activities such as developing disposal strategies for identified stockpiles, e-waste management, and capacity training activities. We will also be continuing with the projects on the update of the national implementation plans for the Bahamas and Dominica, the technical guidelines for the environmentally sound management of plastic waste in Antigua and Barbuda, St. Lucia and Suriname, the development of a waste oil management system in Trinidad.
On behalf of the BCRC Caribbean team, we want to say thank you for all of your support in 2023 and we look forward to serving you in 2024. Thank you. Muchas gracias.